Greetings and salutations, old friends, and hopefully some new friends. As you can hear in the background, we're having a little bit of an early show tonight, which means my children are still up and around. And if you hear a few screams, it's quite all right. It's okay. So today marks a few milestones in our show and our channel. I'm happy to say that according to YouTube stats, Truthseekers now has 20,000 views, which is, I'm not sure how to feel about the numbers. Um, Honestly, I'm trying to avoid thinking about or looking at the numbers because I see, people with, I don't want to say people with different way of doing things with huge numbers and huge amounts of views. Um, But I think we have sort of our own concept here on how to do things and how to really put a show together. Uh, I don't want to take anything against anything away from those other people with bigger numbers, but sometimes the numbers don't make sense to me. Also, I see people with 5,000 subscribers, but when they live stream, they have almost the same number that we do on a good night. So uh, I don't know what the numbers mean. I don't know. I don't know what to think about those. But I think going forward, I'm going to try to worry and look at them less and just do what it is that we do here, which is really all that I can do. Um, I'm terrible at things like maintaining an email list, at internet marketing, and maybe that shows. Some of these people are expert at that. And maybe I'm also just not disciplined enough to do that stuff. It sounds like a party because I guess it is. It's our 50th episode. And I am going to play a bumper real quick and open up the phone lines. And really, because I also need to get up and shut my door. The door is like half open, which is why you can hear the children much more if I don't close the door. My bad. Let me see. Open phone lines. Here we go. So tonight is open topics, open phone lines, and really, I thought that I could spend tonight in a little different way, which is to just interact with the audience. And between you guys and me, maybe we'll figure out the direction for the show for the next 50 episodes. But for right now, we're going to open the phone lines. You can call in and tell us your mysterious stories. You can call in to talk to me or uh, talk about any subject that you wish, really. Uh, Open lines, open subjects. We'll be right back, friends. And here, friends, we are back. So, oh, there we go. We got our first call. One second, friends. Hello, this is Steven, and you're live on Truth Seekers. Oh, man. So, yeah, what are you up to, Elmo? Okay, Elmo. Well, thanks for the congratulations. Okay. Who's this? Oh, hey, Jiggy. What are you doing, man? Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Coming from you, that means a lot because you've got a lot ahead of me. So I got a lot of catching up to do with some of you guys. Thank you. I appreciate it very much. Okay, thanks, Jiggy. Shout out to Jiggy. The views expressed by Jiggy do not necessarily reflect those of the corporate management or show producers here, but they probably do. Yeah, phone is really low. Oh, you know what I'll do, friends? Hold on. Just give me a second. This is what happened. You know what? This is a brand new phone, and I probably don't have the volume set right. Just give me one moment, just in case anybody else calls in. Didn't realize it was that low, but it makes sense because I never sort of sound. Here we go. Okay. There we go. All right. Now it should be much louder now. Oh, one more thing. Yeah, I have a. Okay, it's cranked, friends. So now it's cranked. So, interestingly, I think it was today that we hit 20,000 views, which is interesting on our the day that we will do our 50th show. And I have to say, I on my previous show was radio, so it was audio only, and I had to edit everything like crazy. Every week, it was a couple hours of editing. So I really like the new format. It's letting us cover a lot more ground. It's letting us really expand what we're able to do. Because one show a week is, even that's a challenge sometimes, honestly. A good show every week, but being able to do 4 or 5 is really, really a blessing. So I'm, for one, thankful for this kind of new format. And yeah, things are live and things sometimes don't go well. We've had shows where the microphone didn't work and I talked for 10 minutes not knowing the microphone was off, and all kinds of technical problems. The stream went off. YouTube hit us with policy violations several times. These are all things that are just going to happen if you're in a live situation. You never know what could happen. And I got to say that I did not. It's not that I didn't have respect for live streamers or people who did live shows, but until you do it, you don't really understand the complexities involved and how amazing it is when everything goes well. Okay, so we're going to take some comments and questions from the live chat. Here is the place to do suggestions for future shows, and I will certainly take note. We are here to please the audience, after all. And hopefully it's something that I'm equally interested in, but I've noticed that many of you are interested in. I'm interested in all of this stuff, so I don't mind going down different rabbit holes. Victor Colliero says, I'd like to see a show on the Nat Bigelow Harry Reid connection and how ATEP is the biggest circle jerk ever. Don't forget how George Knapp mentored Tom DeLonge when he wanted to start TTSA. Yes, and don't forget how George Knapp was an early investor in TTSA. I don't know how it's ethical for him to be pumping them up on his television broadcasts while they're soliciting for donations and he's also an investor. There's a little bit of a problem with that kind of thing to me, but it is what it is. And Harry Reid, of course, this whole thing is like Harry Reid giving his buddies money. Well, that would be Bigelow. Yeah, and Knapp and TTSA, they're all connected. Purple skies. Happy 50th, Stephen. Thank you. I appreciate it. Genocide. That was funny. We just stayed and waited. Yeah, eventually, thankfully, somebody got through to me that the microphone wasn't working. Don't worry, man. You are doing fine. Yeah, great. Press F says, a man of great destiny. Don't know. Press F. What do we have? A troll? Look at these graphics. This guy is truly a man out of time. Okay. A man of great destiny. Are we making predictions in the live chat now? Oh, I forgot our little spinner thingy. There you go. That's more modern. Back to the latest in the live chat here. Yeah, so I suppose if anybody has any comments, questions, suggestions about the first 50 shows, and I'm all ears. Otherwise, we'll take suggestions for future shows. And William Pixley asks, how is the sunroom coming? Good, but it is going slow. It's really tedious doing all this log work with the cement, and it takes forever. But here's what I'll say about the sunroom. I was kind of stressed out because I didn't know how this thing was going to come together. And now I do. So we've got this big timber frame up, and I started plowing, and then we're putting this like 2x4 frame inside these huge log frame posts because you need something square to screw the windows into. But anyway, started screwing everything together, and it looks like a sunroom, I guess, should. So yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm just going to keep going. That's the plan. Keep going until there's a sunroom. Updates on the Oracle. Yes, Dan Hogan. I have 4 new videos that feature the Oracle, which I will be hopefully releasing this week. I could tell you that things are going to get interesting with that thing, I think. Jeanette Kruzenko, congratulations on, I guess, episode 50. Oh, yeah, sorry, 50th. Episode 50. If somebody would told me before I started the show that I could do 50, yeah, let me take a look, actually. I want to see when we... one second, friends. I'm just going to pull this up so I know. I don't want to misspeak here. I got to look at my channel and see. The first video, first episode was, 3 months ago. So we started on June 3rd. And we're in September, and we're at episode 50. So I think that we did pretty good as far as amount of content. Some of the quality, some of these things are subjective. Like, what's a good show? if you really love the subject to you, it's probably a good show. If you're not at all interested in the subject, it's probably not a good show. So some of these things are a crapshoot. And I've been thinking about this lately. Like, how do I make sure that I do more or better good shows, really good shows? And the answer to me most of the time is do more homework, do more research. But there's only so much time in a day, and everything has been a juggling act. So, yeah, from June till September, today is the 22nd, 50 shows produced. And that's amazing to me because on my radio show, that would have been a year worth of shows with probably 2 weeks where they would play reruns, or probably even more reruns. That would be more than a year then. It would be like 44 maybe would be for the year, and then the rest would be replays or whatever. But still, so that's the work of a year, the show work of a year versus a few months. I really do like the new format, and I think it's going to, I'm sure it's going to enable us to cover more topics. I thought for fun that we could look at that David Wilcock when he starts crying, but I don't know where does he start crying? Somebody, if they know the timestamp of where he starts crying, I would like to see that. Oh, I got it. One second, friend. Okay. So, for fun and shits and giggles, tonight we're going to share probably the greatest bullshit story that I've ever heard coming out of David Wilcock's mouth. He claims basically that he talks to presidents and knows presidents. Okay, David Wilcock. And then he starts crying, I guess, to, really sell the bullshit story. And I, for one, want to preserve this so that he doesn't take it down because, oh boy, yeah, it's just priceless to watch this idiot go off on this bullshit story and then start bawling and crying. It's so terrible. Not to make fun of somebody that's crying, but this is an act. This is bullshit. This is not him having a genuine emotional reaction. It's just not. So and this video is David Wilcock Time Travel Secrets Revealed. 4 hours and 22 minutes long. And I got to tell you, I was going to cover this, and we still may. But boy, that would be 10 shows for me covering this, because you got to go like a half hour at a time and then analyze what he's saying. And oh boy. But for fun, we're going to cite fair use. And by the way, David Wilcock, you piece of shit, don't you dare fucking copyright strike me, okay? Don't you dare fucking copyright strike me, privacy strike me, or any of that shit, because all we're doing tonight is playing a public video that you posted. We're educating the public about what a dumbass you are, so this falls under fair use. We're educating the public that you make up fake bullshit stories and then expect people to throw money at you so you can live in $1 million mansion that other people pay for, and then you don't even pay taxes. Don't fucking copyright strike me like an asshole. This is fair use. I'm allowed to play this video. We're allowed to laugh at you. You posted it, you dumbass. So this is fair use. Fucking David Wilcock. All right, David Wilcock in his $1 million log cabin in Colorado. And by the way, every so often, some David Wilcock fan says some nasty shit about my cabin that I'm building and says that I'm just jealous because David Wilcock's got a big, beautiful cabin mansion and I have a shack in the woods. But I'm very fond of this saying, David Wilcock can suck a dick because men build log cabins. Bitches bitches buy a log cabin. Only a bitch would buy a log cabin. Look at me. I have all this money. And I bought a log cabin. A man builds his own, you asshole. You don't just buy one, okay? You don't get points for that. You don't, well, you can just buy one, but you don't get any man points for buying one, you asshole. Jeez. All right. Oh, you know what? I always do that, friends. Sorry. Let me get that Patreon out of the way. And we need this. That's what we need. There we go. That's a little better. Yeah. Okay, friends. So, boy, look at that expression. Oh, man. So this is, oh, you know what? I got to do this again. 1 second. Sometimes I forget to click audio. So I want to make sure that we have the audio. Share audio. 1 second, friends. Now we'll get it. There we are. All right. This is fair use, David Wilcock. Don't you dare copyright strike me like a pussy just because you don't want people making fun of you. If you don't want people making fun of you, don't post ridiculous lies to the fucking internet and then cry like a bitch on YouTube in public, you fucking douchebag. This is fair use.
This area, the Mormon area, like, Idaho, Montana, they call that Mormania. Pete originally called it as a joke, and then they started actually calling it that informally. They can close off Mormania, dynamite all the roads, and lock it off so that nobody else can get in, and then there's plenty of food, plenty of water, and everything like that.
And by the way, in this portion here, he's citing Pete Peterson as a source. We have covered Pete Peterson extensively in the past and proven that Pete Peterson was essentially a senile old man who liked to tell bullshit stories to David Wilcock. David Wilcock then took his bullshit stories and made whole television shows out of them and wrote his bullshit stories down in books that he profited from. But Pete Peterson was a complete and total fraud. He never worked for Ronald Reagan, as David Wilcock and him claimed. Never. He was not an early computing pioneer. We called computer museums, and nobody'd ever heard of his so-called computer that he invented before Apple, Tandy, Macintosh. We completely busted that every time Pete Peterson comes out of his mouth, it's a fake source. Busted, David Wilcock. Why are you still using Pete Peterson as a source? Is it because he's dead and you can just attribute any fucking thing you want to him? Yeah, well, before he died, Pete Peterson told me this bullshit story, and I'm going to tell it to you for the first time today. That's his new shtick. And you know what? David Wilcock, it's too easy to see through. You got to work harder, you douchebag. You got to work harder, you douchebag. Come on.
So that whole area around Idaho, Utah, that's all part of it.
Mormania.
I don't think that's going to be necessary. I don't see society going totally nuts like this. But here he was on camera saying he got.
Wow. You know what? I think it's stopping me from playing this for some reason. Let me check in with the live chat.
And he believed in this enough to actually move. So this is very important. All right, let's go back to the slide.
Oh, let's check out this slide. Pete Peterson on the Alliance. We've heard that things are going to happen. Things are going to fail, but life continued on as normal. It's fiction. It's just fiction. And the government continued to print money and pass it out to his friends and so forth. I moved here in 1999 because I was told that by 2001, the system was going to fail. It didn't fail, Pete Peterson. Why is he even putting this in here? A failed prediction from a senile old man? Okay. And here we are 8 years later or 9 years later. In fact, you were ordered to come here. I was. So much drama.
So he was ordered to come there in 1999. He was told the system was going to fail. So we found out that no, the system didn't fail. I'd go for a briefing and they would be in total shock. We don't understand why society has not collapsed. We don't have any idea why it hasn't failed.
Yeah, and I just wanted to stop for a second and say, he's using Pete Peterson as a source who is a fake. He never worked for Ronald Reagan. David Wilcock and him previously both suggested and said that he was a science and technology advisor for Ronald Reagan. He never was, friends. Never. We talked to the Ronald Reagan archivists, got real friendly with them. There's no record of this guy. Completely total bullshit. So who's giving briefings to a senile old man that thinks he was an early computing pioneer that beat Steve Jobs and had a better computer than Apple and all this bullshit? Who's giving this guy briefings? His imaginary friends are giving him the briefings, I guess. I don't know. I don't know with this shit.
Remember, this is 2009. I mean, we just don't know because they really thought it was going to work. The only thing we can do is say there was so much inertia, there was so much getting in the way. How would this ever be possible? If somebody wanted to do this, how do you actually make it happen, right? So now it's beginning to fail. And it isn't just beginning to fail, it's increasing on a logarithmic scale.
Whoa, logarithmic. David Wilcock with those big words. And look at this fancy PowerPoint. Dude, what does it must be like for him to sit there and go, I got to make a really fancy professional looking PowerPoint about a bunch of bullshit I just made up for my live stream. You're like, it's got to take him hours and hours to do this shit. And it's all about nothing and nonsense. I mean, he's got to have better things to do. That is David Wilcock, when you're on your deathbed, are you going to wish that you did more PowerPoints about your fairy tale bullshit stories? Right? It's just such a waste to me.
This was after 2008 economic collapse, right? And it's been hell ever since then. And this was 2009, so 1 year later. And very shortly, I see that it just about has to do that. It has to collapse. And this was in 2009, folks. Wow.
Okay.
I've put my money and my talent, my skills and my abilities where my mouth is. I've come here and I'm self-sufficient. I grow all my own meat, all my own vegetables. That's not really true, but he does exaggerate sometimes. We have to forgive him for that.
He's even calling him a liar himself. Oh my God.
I have stored up those things that are going to be critical to society. He did have all the equipment to grow his own meat, and he did grow some vegetables. That is true. So it's not entirely false, but I don't think he had any chickens or anything at the time that I was there. I've picked up the tools that I didn't have that allow me to do things in such an environment, in such a society, to produce things that are going to be necessary for people to have. And he goes into a long tangent on all that stuff, which I'm not going to read. So what happens is if we have a financial collapse, if
we have a financial collapse, listen, financial collapses happen every so often. Somebody predicting one is not a stretch.
As in when, it won't be like the Great Depression in the 1920s. Of course, it's going to be much worse. It's going to be like today, and they're expecting what they're probably hoping for. Some people, some negative people, you're going to have anarchy and absolute chaos. Well, it sure looks like somebody's trying to push that on us right now, and that's why I say we need that meditation practice. You got to do this regularly in your life.
I got to fast forward.
Something very interesting. Notice the way that Obama is folding his hands. In terms of body language, he is shielding his core. He's shielding his lower chakras. He's shielding his waist and groin area. And that's an armoring because he feels unsafe. He feels threatened. Something's wrong.
He's covering his balls because he feels unsafe. Okay, David Wilcock. Jesus Christ, where do you get this shit? Looks pretty at peace and at ease and happy to me.
And he's still got his hands in that position there while they're chuckling it up. And he's still got his hands in that same position. Notice it's still happening as he turns and he talks to George W. So he's smiling, but he's very, very nervous. Now look at George Bush Sr. and look at how nervous he looks. And you'll see why he was so nervous in a minute. And he looks even more nervous in this next picture. Notice Obama is still shielding himself. Oh, and by the way, if you look at Carter, Carter is like standing way the hell away from everybody else because he is spooked out. He does not want to be near anybody, right? So notice that. So Carter knows what's going on. He doesn't like it, but he was there and he showed up. He's a good soldier.
And just so we're clear, this is another fake story from his fake whistleblower, who is now deceased. And Pete Peterson never told any of these stories while he was alive to anyone, anywhere. But What I believe, and this is opinion and speculation, is that David Wilcock's just going to make shit up forever and attribute it to his fake government insider, Pete Peterson, who's now deceased. Very convenient that nobody can go to a dead man and say, "Did you say this shit?"
Look at how nervous Bush looks. And then after this happened, there's a thing where Bush Senior is going to shake somebody's hand. And he's all nervous, and he has a napkin in his hand. And as he reaches out for the handshake, the napkin is still in his hand, and it's all weird because his hand's all sweaty, and he acts really awkwardly. Well, why was Bush so nervous, and why does he look so nervous in this picture? Okay, the reason he looks so nervous in that picture, according to this briefing from Pete Peterson, everybody on the inside knows about this.
According to a briefing by a deceased fake whistleblower. Yeah. What quality sources Mr. Wilcock has? A deceased fake whistleblower whose entire biography can be picked apart and showed to be fake and fraudulent gave David Wilcock this briefing on this presidential event. And he knows all these presidents. Yeah. Okay.
Is that right after this, and you can look up the date of that thing they had. I guess it was in 2008 because it's a 2008 election. It was before 2009. That you can read in the original reports that Bush and Obama had a private meeting. Bush Sr. and Obama had a private meeting that lasted about 20 minutes. Nobody else went in. According to Pete Peterson, there was a guy who was in.
According to his fake dead whistleblower, with a fake biography, with fake education, with fake credentials, with fake business achievements that never happened and don't exist. Yeah, according to that guy.
A telephone booth. And after the meeting was over, Obama staggered out of the room, put his head in his hands, and cried, "My God, they made the N-word," I'm not going to say it, "a scapegoat." That's how he said it. "My God, they made the N-word a scapegoat." And he was crying and sobbing and heaving. But what we found out was that during that meeting, he was called the N-word repeatedly, multiple times. This man, Bush Sr., was vicious. His teeth were bared. "Look, you effing da-da-da-da." And he said all this kind of stuff to him. Now it is one of the most heartbreaking things. I mean, honest to God.
Oh, here comes the crying. Oh, and we got to get the cue the close-up while he starts the crying.
I know this is true, folks.
He knows it's true because a fake dead whistleblower told him it's true. A guy who, with a fake education and a fake background, fake business credentials, told him that this story's true. And now he's going to cry about it.
And he did not deserve that. But Obama, what the hell are you doing, man?
He's addressing Obama directly, which is the height of arrogance, because basically he's implying that former presidents, take the time to watch his 4-hour live streams about bullshit from fake sources. They must watch his show, right? Obama must watch his show. He's talking to him like he does. Come on, Obama. What are you doing?
You need to stop this shit. If you study the letter that I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, then I would recommend going and looking. But, they threatened him, and it's very, very sad because they told him that he would be killed if he resisted the plan. And his family made a decision that he was not going to participate in what he wanted to do, which was to bring them down. They hazed him very badly in the beginning. They buzzed Air Force One. And there's a whole other thing that I'm going to do later on about that.
Yeah, so if we believe this story, we're expected to believe that a bunch of former presidents went into the White House. So, and when that happens, it's a big event. It's a press event. They do that for press. Let's get Jimmy Carter and the two Bushes in here, right? And we'll have a photo op. So in the middle of a photo op, a bunch of former presidents, I think he's talking about Bush Sr., snarled at Obama and started calling him the N-word and threatening his family at this press event. It It's so much bullshit. It's so much bullshit.
But I mean, you look at the look on this man's face, and you think about what he was about to do.
What was he about to do,
It's crazy.
David? Is it crazy? Sorry you're so upset.
I'm sorry, folks. Sorry. I don't like this. I don't like talking about this stuff.
Jesus Christ.
Some things I don't mind talking about. I don't like talking about this.
Well, then why did you put it in your live stream and purposefully cry and flip the camera to a close-up of you right when the crying started? Why would you do that unless this is a performance? Who knows?
What the hell are you doing, dude? You got to stop this. You can't.
You do, David.
You got to make those calls, and you got to think about what you're doing.
You got to stop this, David.
You have to think about the steps that you people are taking and what you think is okay to get to the goal that you think you have. For God's sake, take the deal.
What deal? The deal where Obama lets the other presidents take over the world? Because are they the Dark Alliance? Are they the Alliance? I can't keep track of his bullshit anymore. You know, the good guys and the bad guys. So wait, so Obama was a good guy, and he was very highly supportive of Obama, by the way, when Obama got elected. And, you know, he was going to be the disclosure president, but that never happened. And now he's a big Trump supporter. So how does that work? How can he be both a huge Obama supporter and a huge Trump supporter? It doesn't make any sense to me, but okay. And Trump's a good guy? Really? Trump's a good guy. The alliance president. Okay.
The deal and stop this. There's a lot of people who are going to be able to get out of this, okay? But you have to take the deal and you have to cooperate. You're going to lose. You're not going to win. It's inevitable. We already know because the future timeline is fixed. This particular timeline that we're on leads to your defeat.
Obama is a former president. What defeat could he be worried about in his future? He's got a huge Netflix deal, book deals, and the guy gets like $150,000 to show up and give an hour-long speech somewhere. I don't think he's feeling very defeated, David Wilcock, you douchebag.
There's no getting around that. And you are just sore losers, and you are not being in integrity. But you don't care. And you're putting us all through hell, and it needs to stop. And we need to take a stand, because you might hate this guy, okay? You might hate the guy. And I get that. But if you don't do this, we are screwed, man.
We are screwed, man. Oh, I'm going to clip that out.
So you need to get out there and you need to make that vote happen, because they have 80 million false ones. That's what we're seeing. Okay? It's
80 million false votes.
It's going to be disputed. It's not going to be easy. And they have teams from Nicaragua, El Salvador, Mexico. They brought up.
Who has teams? And since he's such a big Trump supporter, I would assume that he's talking about the Democrats. So he's accusing the Democrats of having $80 million or 80 million fake ballots, right? Listen, in this short time, having Nicaraguan special agents working for them. This is crazy.
All right, and they're in position. I don't know how bad it's going to get. They're gonna make it so scary to go to a polling place that nobody wants to go to vote, because you're going to get shot. That's what you're trying to do, folks.
You're going to get shot. I really don't see a bunch of armed people shooting people for trying to vote in any near future in the United States. As crazy as things are right now, I just don't see that. So I call bullshit, David Wilcock. This is just more bullshit you're just making up.
You think this is all natural? You think nobody's coordinating any of this stuff? You think I want to talk about this?
You think I want to talk about it?
You think I want to be up here on this fucking camera talking about this shit?
Yeah. I think you do.
Sorry.
Oh my God, no.
I didn't know it was going to get like this. I didn't know it was going to get this bad. And I'm the positive guy. I mean, I always try to make it positive. But this is just crazy.
This doesn't seem very positive, David Wilcock. Come on. You're a spiritual guru, man. Shouldn't you be able listen, if he was a spiritual guru, shouldn't he have, and for all of his talk of meditation, one of the tremendous benefits of daily meditation is awareness of your emotions, of your mental state. If he's meditating more than some slob like me, because he's a spiritual guru and all, wouldn't he have control and awareness? Wouldn't he have an awareness? Okay, I'm starting to get upset, and then you can calm yourself before you start crying on camera? Or is this a purposeful act? Did he go? Is there notes somewhere where it's in parentheses like start crying, click close up, right? Because that's what it looks like to me. And this looks like a hokey as shit fake performance. Either that, or he's a mental case and he's getting emotional about fake stories that don't exist, that aren't real. Or he's getting very emotional about other things, and this story he's telling is has nothing to do with why he's crying right now. Could be any of them. I don't know. This guy's a nutter.
And if you can't see what's going on, I'm sorry. If you think this is all natural, I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry that you haven't been willing to take that step and feel like throwing up and go through this grief process that I'm going through right now. But you have to do it, okay? You have to go through this. You have to see who these people are and see what they would do. And they would call somebody those kind of things and threaten them like that. And threaten him that his daughters are going to be raped in front of him and killed. I don't support that kind of stuff, folks. I don't.
For the record, yeah, I'm glad that he made that clear. For the record, everyone, David Wilcock does not support people's daughters getting raped and killed in front of them. It's good to know. It's just good that he clarified things there. You're a fucking douchebag, David Wilcock.
You can't do that to people, but they do, okay? And it's part of the problem, is that this is all real, okay? They are doing some very nasty stuff. I got to pull it together. I'm really sorry. I did not expect that this was going to happen. Holy crap. I'm good.
Cue the wide shot when the crime is over.
The work. It's work. It's work to take this on. It's work to believe that this is real. It's work to go to bed at night knowing that you're going to wake up in a world where this shit is happening. And I'm sorry. I didn't want it to be like this, and I thought we could work hard enough that it would be quick and easy, that 3 days of darkness would come really, really soon. They were going to do it, but it won't be until they need to.
3 days of darkness. This was this bullshit story that all of the internet was going to go down for 3 days, or was it 7 days? I think he said 3 days, and then maybe somebody else said it was going to be 7 days. And, the government was going to be informing us on all of our televisions what was going on while the mass arrests took place. But that never happened, and it never will, because David Wilcock has been promising that there's some kind of mass arrests that will take place since 1998, friends. That's when he first started pushing that bullshit story, and he's still pushing it.
God. And honestly, if you're a spiritual person and you understand that we're all one and that the teaching is forgiveness and love, you got to rise above all the currents of hatred. You got to rise above all the stuff that's trying to tell you to be mean to other people and to hurt them and to threaten them and to lie to them. And that it's okay to organize a little insurrection, Oh, man. I miss one thing to have heard about this stuff in 2009. It's quite another to be here on the ground looking at it and dealing with it.
Okay, so he first heard about all this in 2009, and he didn't say anything about it until right now. Come on.
I'm sorry that I haven't talked to you more, but it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming to know what I
Because
know.
4 hour stream isn't long enough. Every time this guy streams, it's like 4 or 5 hours long. He hasn't talked to us enough. Who wants to talk to David Wilcock more than fucking 5 hours? I can't stand to listen to him for more than 20 minutes. But God bless anybody that can sit through this asshole for 4 hours of bullshittery fun.
And to know that I could lose my channel just for telling you the truth.
You
The
know,
truth is,
I
it was
lose
told
my
to me. I
channel.
can't prove some of this stuff. Some of it I can.
You can't prove any of it, David Wilcock. You've never proven any of it. He's been telling these bullshit stories for literally over 20 years. Nothing he has ever talked about in any venue, any video, nothing that he's ever spoken about has been proven to be true and accurate. Nothing. And it never will.
I'm just telling you what I know, because I don't want this reality. I don't want to lose that timeline. And we don't have to lose that timeline. The Great Awakening is how we get through this, everybody. We all have to solve the easy mystery. Gosh, okay, I got to stop. I got to stop crying, and I just got to get back to work. Okay. Anyway, you saw the picture. You saw the look on his face. That's because of what he was about to do, and he had the hanky in his hand. He was all sweaty, and he ruined that man's life.
Oh,
I mean, I really do. Barry, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry that happened to you, man. I really am sorry. But
if that were true, then what? How come like George Bush Jr. and Obama's wife are always so buddy-buddy when they meet up at events? They really like each other, and you can tell it's genuine. If the guy's fucking getting threatened, they wouldn't be all chummy with him at public events, you dumbass.
you got to stop this crap. You got to stand down. We'll give you some breaks. We'll acknowledge what you went through at this point. I don't have the same view of you that some people do. I didn't hate you. I voted for you, man. But this is crazy. You got to stop. God, sorry. I didn't expect to do that.
We expect to cry again.
All right. I'm pulling it together.
Yeah, so he's going to ask Pete Peterson if there's white hats in the government and intelligence and military who themselves are patriots and are trying to do their best from the inside to avert these things. So he's asking a senile old man who's not who he says he is, who doesn't have the education he said he did, who doesn't have any of the business credentials and achievements that he claimed that he did, who claimed that he was a science and technology advisor for Ronald Reagan, but never was. That's who he's asking these questions to. And again, if you ask me, it's opinion and speculation. Neither David Wilcock or Pete Peterson talked about any of this shit while he was alive. And isn't it convenient that his dead source is still giving him all this information about current events? The guy's been dead for how long now? Where is he getting this shit from? He said it was given to him in 2008. Why didn't you? This is from 2008 and you've never used it until now? Bullshit. Bullshit. And you know what? We're really, yeah, we've covered enough of this shit. And I can't stand to listen to that guy. Somebody in the live chat asked why all the anger sometimes when I talk about this clown, because I can't stand him. I can't stand, you know what? I can't stand the fact that he is telling absolute fairy tale bullshit stories and people are throwing money at him. Like he's got some kind of value to the real world. Like he's, some kind of authoritative source of information about any of this stuff. He's just making shit up. He's just crafting fairy tales for people and has been for 20-something years. And it's absolutely ridiculous that the guys, come on. He's going to start a religious organization so he doesn't have to pay taxes. And this is all this is part of his religion, telling people bullshit stories about past presidents, threatening other past presidents. It's so ridiculous and implausible. I don't understand why people just sit through it and go, like, really? Really, David Wilcock? They threatened Obama? They called him the N-word? It must be true because you're crying about it. It's stupid. It's stupid. And boy, but God bless him. Very financially successful at selling bullshit. One of the best. One of the best. But I would like to mention, just to you stupid people that send him money, you're sending him money so he can have multiple $1 million mansions, right? You're sending him money. What was it that he spent on meals and entertainment in 4 months? Was it 2008 or 2009? I think it was $5,000 or something like that. Meals and entertainment, $5,000, paid for by you stupid people who give him money. Wouldn't it be nice if you had $5,000 that you could spend on meals and entertainment, tax-free? I can't do that, but David Wilcock can, thanks to you assholes sending him money. What am I going to say? If you're that fucking stupid with your money, because that's what you're financing. You're financing this stupid asshole's $1 million lifestyle. That's what your money is going towards. What is he doing with all of this money? Why is he constantly involved in fundraising scams and scandals? I'd like to know. A lot of people would like to know. And is this religious organization that he started, is this just the latest fundraising scam? Must be nice that you can take money from people and literally live a millionaire lifestyle. $1 million home, very expensive cars, $5,000 for meals and entertainment for just a few short months. Must be nice. It must be nice. And but then I get to what is he giving people for all this money he's collecting? What is he giving them? And that, friends, is when I get angry. He's not giving them anything of value. I guess entertainment, if you could sort of quantify it. David Wilcock is going to save us all and help us ascend. Yeah, I don't know. If you took his first ascension course and you didn't ascend, team up and go after this fraud. Well, I don't consider myself a journalist, but lately I've been thinking that I have a responsibility to turn things over to law enforcement where appropriate. And I have a great deal of information that I think that if a prosecutor looked at, would think that's a pretty strong case. So, yeah, but then the other part of me thinks, it's like, why do I got to do that? Why do I got to gather up all this evidence? Maybe it's because I have a lot of it or most of it, and I should. But then I don't even know, like, how do you present that to a prosecutor or a law enforcement officer? It's not a coincidence that Mr. Wilcock has been involved in all these fundraising scandals. It's not a coincidence that he started a 501c3 and then is spending thousands of dollars on meals and entertainment for himself. It's not a coincidence, friends. Deprogrammed Podcast is here. Hi, good to see you here. I don't think I've seen you in the live chat. We've talked offline, though. Yeah. It's a cult. Of course it's a cult. Of course it's a cult. And he's got his cult wife, the woman warrior, teaching those classes, and he's teaching classes on Ascension for $333. Oh yeah, let's not forget the Golden Dragon family Fulford. I just can't handle all the woo. That's another time he cried. He cried on Kerry Cassidy's radio show because ninja assassins were sent from the Red Dragon family, was it, to assassinate him, and they were in his house. And instead of calling the police, or somebody to come and help him while ninja assassins were in his house, he called into Kerry Cassidy's radio show and cried. Because that makes sense. This guy is fucking ridiculous. The problem with busting these fuckers out is that people are stupid, and that is not a lawbreaker. Got to catch them when they make the mistakes. For Wilcock, it is the 501c3. Yeah, and for the record, I requested a copy of the 990 form for this year from Elizabeth Wilcock, and they have 30 days to give it to me. And I don't know exactly, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, I requested that document. And if they don't give it to me, I'm going to file a complaint with the IRS. I'm not a tax accountant or an attorney, but near as my understanding is that if you run a 501c3 and anybody asks you for the 990 form, you have to furnish that. You have to give it to them. They can ask for up to your organization's last 3 years. His hasn't been in existence for 3 years yet, but it has been for 2. So I've got the 2008 990, which shows that he's just basically spending tons of money on equipment and meals and entertainment, tax-free. But I wanted to see this year's and see if he's continuing in that pattern. And so far, they have not emailed me. Let me check just to make sure right now. But I don't believe that they have emailed me the 990 form, and they're required by law. Near as I understand, I could be incorrect, but I believe that they're required by law to give that to me within 30 days. And they have so far not furnished it. If they don't do that, they'll be in violation of IRS, I believe, regulations or laws, because it's law that they have to. My understanding, it's law that they have to give it to you if you ask for it. I've asked for it several weeks ago. Nobody's given it to me yet. If they don't give it to me, I have to go to the IRS, I suppose. Yeah, no, they didn't. Not that I expected that they would, but yeah, we have. I didn't realize my hair is like a mess today. Yeah, so we have requested it. That's all I can do is request it. If they don't give it to me, there's a next step that we'll take, because I believe that information is newsworthy and it should be out in the public for people to make a more informed decision about whether or not they should be donating money to this guy and his wife so they can live a millionaire lifestyle. Jason quit as a time traveler, sent to disrupt any time period he was in. Yeah, maybe. Lee Veltman, when is the next court date? Who's up first? I believe that the judge has until October to review the motions to dismiss in that case and make a decision. But if I was a betting person, I'd say that it's getting dismissed, because there's excellent argument. There's excellent motion to dismiss legal arguments made by both C.W. Channer in that case, and also Cliff Highs is really well written, and he's representing himself, so kudos to him. I read those documents, and I read the plaintiff's documents, and the plaintiff keeps asking to amend the complaint, and they've already amended the complaint once and didn't cure the problems with the complaint, why it should be dismissed immediately. Now they want to, near as I know, now they want to amend the complaint again, and there's already been all these motions to dismiss, and then they amended the complaint, and now there's new motions to dismiss, and they still haven't solved the problems after amending the complaint once. I don't think a judge is going to put up with much more of this shit, and I think it's going to get dismissed. But, I'm not a lawyer. That's just my take on it. And would I prefer it to be dismissed? Yeah, because I think this person is unfairly using the legal system to harass his critics. That's what I think it comes down to. The Light Warrior Legal Fund. Yeah, that's bullshit. It's not the Light Warrior Legal Fund. It's to donate money to me so I can sue people that say my bullshit stories on the internet aren't true. That's what that legal fund is supporting. It is what it is, friends, and I'm sorry that got to that point where people got sued simply for going on the internet and saying this guy telling these bullshit stories about going to Mars and, being in a secret space program are fairy tales. They're not true. Then they get sued Where's Freeman? And that guy's supposed to be some kind of modern day Enoch. He's a prophet too, just like David Wilcock's a spiritual guru. Wouldn't that guy just forgive his critics if he was really some kind of enlightened light and love guy? Of course he would, but not in this world where he's light and love, but he's just going to sue everybody that talks shit about him. And that's the world that we live in, this hypocritical world that he lives in. It's just total hypocrisy. I'm the modern day Enoch. I'm going to teach you about ascension. I talk to enlightened aliens, and I sue everybody that talks shit about me on the internet. It's ridiculous. And listen, with any luck, the judge in that case will be a very reasonable person and will slap him with a huge bunch of other people's legal fees for having done this, and he won't be able to do shit like that again. But this is our legal system. You can sue anybody for anything. You can request to file a statement as a friend of the court. Yeah, I mean, I could. I wouldn't even know where to begin though. It's an awful lot of shit to unpack for some judge that doesn't know anything about. See, there's really two worlds. The people that are plugged into conspiracy land know about all this weird shit that nobody outside of conspiracy land knows about. It's a small subculture of crazy people. I'm one of them. You're one of them if you're in my live chat. Not crazy people, but some of them are crazy friends. But so I wouldn't know where to begin. How do you tell a judge, like, listen, this guy talks to aliens, he says spaceships landed in his backyard, and these other people that he's suing said those stories aren't true, so that's why he's suing them? I mean, yeah, maybe somebody should file a statement like that as a friend of the court and let the judge know that that's exactly what this is about and nothing else. That's my opinion, and I guess it could be free to express it to the presiding judge in the case. I'm not sure they could even read it, or would even read it, but I guess they have to, right? Andrew Whitley. Hi, Stephen. New to your channel. Hello. Good to see you here, Mr. Whitley. Nice to see you, Andrew. I am always happy to see some new faces that I haven't seen before in the live chat. Welcome. We cover mysterious and strange subjects and conspiracy land topics. If you like that sort of thing, you may have found a good place to come. We have a good group of people here, and you are most welcome. New user in the chat room, Andrew Whitley. You are most welcome. We are thinking outside of the box, people. Yes, not crazy. Thinking outside of the box, people. That's a good way to put it. I love that hat in your avatar, too. That's like old school. You ever thought about contacting the plaintiff's attorney for an interview? Yeah, and I don't think she would talk to me, but it would be fun, and I'm probably going to record myself calling her and asking her for an interview. If that's possible, I have to check what state she's in and see. But yeah. Might be a conflict of interest picks. I work with several lawyer whistleblowers that might help, though. Yeah, I agree. Don't forget, this all started with Joe from the Carolinas after the Blue Chicken Turds dox him and try to get him fired. Yeah, try to ruin the guy's life, which is ridiculous. And that guy, again, was just one of those guys that went on the internet and said, yeah, this guy telling stories about going to Mars and being some secret space program and time traveling and being age regressed. It's really not, there's no facts or evidence to support any of these fairy tales stories that he's telling, and started looking into the guy. Proving things like there was no standardized tests at the school that he went to, though he claimed that the government identified him as an intuitive empath through a standardized test. And Joe from the Carolinas got harassed, doxxed, threatened, intimidated, almost lost his job. And by the way, that gentleman was a psychiatrist, I believe, or psychologist, right? At a clinic where people were dying of cancer. Such light and love people. That was my beach hat. I was on a cruise. Good for you. Cruises are awesome. Yes, she is Teresa Llanero's sister. And that's another thing. Teresa Llaneros, you are you are as fake and fucking plastic as it gets, girl. When are you going to say something about all this? You're just going to let your sister sue all these people for saying that Corey Good's bullshit stories aren't true, even though you now believe and know that Corey Good's bullshit stories aren't true and you left his cult? Why don't you speak up about this shit? Why don't you say something? She's never going to say anything. All she cares about is her brand. I talked to her once and she spent an hour talking to me about her brand. Really? Her brand. Your brand is plastic, fake Barbie bullshit seller. Really, it is. Whatever you think is going to get you clicks and views, that's your fucking brand. And now she's got like a side hustle where she's teaching people how to build their brand. You know, if people donate enough money, I'll hire her to work on the Truthseekers brand. That would be funny. Joe is such a nice guy. It sucks. Yeah, I miss him, and I sure miss his videos. And really, him and a few others were really some of what inspired me to start looking more deeply into these things and sort of use some investigative skills that I knew that I had to look into these things. And now he's kind of gone because he got harassed, you know. And I think, you know, it would be good to see him back. Maybe we'll try to get him to just come on and be a guest. I don't even know if he'd be interested in doing that. Go Kick Rocks 88. I believe you may be new to the live chat, and if you are, welcome. You are most welcome here. What psychological issues cause someone to believe him? I don't know. I think a lot of people are searching for something outside of themselves, something to give them comfort, and these sort of things become like online cults, and it gives people a feeling of belonging, a feeling of being in on a secret, right? There's a lot of deep-rooted psychological issues that may cause people to gravitate towards these sort of online cults, and especially gravitate enough towards them to start shoveling money at them, because many of the people involved in these things do shovel money at the cult leaders. Yes. Joe, if you're here, I need some gardening advice. I may be able to help you. I used to have a huge garden, and I'm going to build a huge garden at the cabin. Just got to finish that cabin first, and then it's going to be garden time, and I can't wait. Yeah, William Pixley, he simply didn't want to put up with the bullshit. And you can't blame the guy, right? He programmed low self-esteem, yes. Typically, many of these people suffer from low self-esteem, and they get involved in this cult. And a very often tactic of cults, and Melissa, you can verify this, is they love bomb you. You get involved in this group, and then they start throwing love at you. You're so, you know, we're so glad you're here with us, and we're so glad that you found us. And, you know, we have a place for you here. You are loved. And people that are lacking that in their lives, it's very attractive to them. Bunya says, I was inspired by Joe and CW. Yeah, good. KB, I love your new stove. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I was so happy because the only thing I like better than free is, I like free stuff, but the second biggest thing I like is cheap stuff. And if I could get something, especially if it's something I really need for cheap, oh, that makes me so happy. So I got this wood stove for the cabin. I'm gonna share some pics of it here. 1 second here. See if we can't share this. I'm just gonna share this from my Twitter. Yeah, so this is a wood cook stove. And the way this works is that the wood goes in this side. This is the burn box. And then there's an oven over here. This I'm not sure what it is yet because I haven't really looked at it. It is either a water tank or a warmer, but I haven't looked at this thing enough. There's no faucet on it, so I'm guessing this is a warmer. But it seems solid, like solid tank. So I think it could be either. But interestingly, most of the time when the water tank is on this side, there's some kind of a spigot, and I didn't see a spigot, but this top opens and closes, and so and this is the cooktop, so it's got basically a 4-burner cooktop, and the oven is right here. So these I'm so happy about getting one of these because they are just the best thing to have, the very best appliance to have in a cabin, especially an off-grid cabin. You put wood in here, you cook and it heats the whole cabin. This whole firebox, it's not huge like a big huge fireplace, but this thing's metal, so it radiates heat through it. But anyway, you light a fire in this firebox, and then it heats the cabin, the whole cabin, and then you could heat your water either on the top of it on a big pot, or maybe in this if we can adapt that. And it's also an oven, and you can, use frying pans, use pots and pans, whatever, on the top of the thing, and cook your food with it as well. So, and people will also dehydrate food with these. You just put a shelf above it, so it's not getting full direct heat. They're just the most useful thing that you can have for a cabin. I'm so happy to get one. I've wanted one since I started the cabin, but they're so hard to get. They're usually like huge and cast iron and 1,200 pounds, and you need 3 guys to even lift it up into the back of a truck. I don't have a truck. This one's, this is my old wood stove. So we're going to be replacing the old wood stove, and here's the old wood stove, which is really just for heat. I can cook on the top of this, and did. This is in the kitchen at the cabin. But the downside to this one is you can only put 1 pot up there at a time. So I've been cooking 1 skillet or 1 pot meals on it for 2 years now. Would be nice to have to be able to cook like this one. You can basically put 4 pots and pans on it, on the top of it at the same time while it's going. And yeah, it's a little slower than like a gas or electric stove and oven that you might be used to at home. But it works, and you're already running the fire to heat the cabin. So the fact that it does all this other stuff for you too, it's just an incredible bonus. I'm so excited about having this thing. Let me go back. Yeah, so and it's small. It's like really not that big. I won't be cooking a huge turkey in this thing, but or anything like that. But whatever I need at the cabin, pizzas for sure. I cannot wait to do the wood-fired pizza. Wood-fired pizza is awesome. So that's the cabin update. And again, today we're hitting 50. This is episode 50. I can't thank all of you guys enough for being with me here on this journey that we've taken. And I got to say that the next part of the journey is going to be even better. We've ironed out a lot of technical difficulties here. We've sort of figured out good ways to format things and present things, how to share parts that we want to share, and how to interact with the live audience. We've expanded to also broadcasting, besides just YouTube, on Facebook and Twitch. And I think before we get going on the next shows, we will expand out to Periscope and maybe a few others. We'll see where that goes. It can't hurt to be on these other platforms, but I do notice that there's not a lot of traffic there or activity there. And I don't know really how to build a Twitch following. I got to do some reading up on that so that we can try at least to have a little bit of a following at each streaming location. Facebook seems good. When we finish the broadcast, there's between, 75 and 150 views. So people are also watching on Facebook and commenting on Facebook, and that's a good thing as well. KB, don't forget to rotate that pizza. I left that part out. You're absolutely right. The other downside to a wood cook stove with the oven, especially, is the side of the oven that's nearest to the firebox is hotter than the side of the oven inside the oven that is furthest. So if you cook something like a pizza or a turkey or whatever you cook in that oven, you got to spin it, so that it doesn't burn one side and undercook the other side. I've been warned about this. and it I get it. You definitely have to turn it. The other thing is, in that little wood stove, I used to put this Coleman camp oven on the top of it. But that I didn't have to spin anything because the heat is coming from the bottom up. But with this one, yeah, it's coming from the side. So a lot of people tell me that with the wood stoves, you have to spin the stuff in the oven so that it evenly cooks. For a little downside, I'll take it. I think there's such it's just such a great appliance to have. I'm so happy to find this thing today. I was like in the candy store. I was like, I couldn't pay this woman enough. I was so thankful to get it because it was super cheap too, and that helps. When it's super cheap and you really love it, it's a good day. You know, I was joking I had a good day today because I had a bacon sandwich, a nice nap. My wife made her delicious tacos for dinner, and I got a wood stove that I've wanted for a couple of years now, and it's my 50th episode of our new show here. So some days, friends, are just those good days, and I had a good day today, and I'm glad to continue the good day with you friends here. Conspiracies target people with no initiative to search for themselves. They would rather listen to someone spew 1,000 lies and disinformation than spend 5 minutes researching for themselves. Yeah, I think it's kind of shocking when you look into some of these guys like David Wilcock, how quickly and easily it is to pick apart their stories as being completely and totally fake and made up. It's like, it was surprising to me at first. Like, Jesus, God, fuck, this guy's not even trying to cover his tracks that this is all fake. Crazy. An East Coast alt skeptic exopolitics convention is in order. Well, you run it and I'll be there, William Pixley. Yes. Sixth design. I think people that believe in those obvious fake conspiracies already believe in other related conspiracies. Yeah, I think you're right. Like flat earthers seeing an Illuminati program are more truly likely to believe it than someone that essentially watches true fact-driven documentaries and such. Yeah, I've been sticking to space documentaries lately because mostly they're factual. Those guys speculate too, but they'll tell you when they're speculating and they'll say, like, here's the evidence for why I'm speculating this way about a certain topic, like life on other planets or whatever. They're looking at evidence even when they're speculating. So it's a little more fact-based to me. Kind of burn out of the whole UFO documentary thing. I've probably watched every one ever made. Yeah. William Pixley says, simple pleasures. You had a damn good day, man. Yeah, absolutely. And when I'm done, when I'm done with the show here, I'm gonna drink a 6-pack. So there's another simple pleasure. KB, congratulations on your great day. Yeah, I just had to mention, like, some days are just like, God, today was a good day. And you know what, friends, I realize how blessed I am sometimes because, I have 2 beautiful children. I have a beautiful wife that just takes amazing care of me. And yeah, life is good if you let it be. You got to let it be, right? Today, I let it be. Some days are definitely better than others, right? But we always got to think about the things we're grateful for. I'm grateful that we finally hit 50 shows. I didn't think I was going to make it this far. I never told you guys this, but I think at about maybe like 10 shows in, I thought, I don't know what else to do shows about. I can't keep it going like this. And then I just sort of thought about all of the cool, weird stories that I'd been interested in since I was a kid. And it's easy to make a decent show if you go back and do some homework. So somehow I got a second wind and we got through it. I have a list of another 50 shows, and of course they're not done and ready, but I know enough now about doing this that I know, okay, so each one I got to do a few hours, look into this and that, and try to find sourcing and good sources to share and things like that. And yeah, but the important point for me is having the topics. So if you guys think of any topics, please do. You'd be doing me a favor. send me a topic. Like if you know a cool cryptid creature that nobody else really covers, that there's some material out there that I can look into, boom. DM me on Twitter, send it to me. I'll look into it. We'll put it on the. I'm getting a calendar, and I'm going to start putting subjects on the calendar. Despite what I said about the numbers when we started here, I'm still encouraged enough to keep going. I do have to say also, though, I considered doing tonight's show and then taking a few months off because that cabin's kicking my ass, and I got some other things that I got to do around here, and things around my house where I live daily, with my wife and children, have taken a hit. Like there's a lot of projects that I'm sure my wife would like me to finish around here. So I got to start getting to some of that. We may modify the schedule here to be not quite so ambitious or quite so aggressive. Because I have other things to do, but we may go back to this no schedule and rocking. I may have to. I got to get some other stuff done that don't involve the show. So, and everybody should be able to understand that we all got lives outside of whatever creative endeavors that we're working on. Are you on Discord, Steve? No, I'm not on Discord. Or I was when I was on the Fringe FM, but I think I'm no longer. I lost my Discord server privileges for their Discord server. You can talk to me offline about that, and we'd like to have you come on the show here whenever you can do it. That would be a fun show. We can talk about UFO cults, which is something I love talking about, and we can compare notes. For those that don't know, you should check out her podcast. It's great. So she had Cal Korff on, and the Nutter Billy Meyer people all suddenly got off of me and started harassing her. And that's what they do, friends. But I could have predicted that because exactly the kind of shit they've just been putting her through, they put me through when I had Cal Korff on. Yeah. RH blood type. Oh, out of mind. That is a good one. That is going right in the schedule. Yeah. RH blood type. I agree with you. That's a crazy rabbit hole. And there's a lot of material out there. More than enough for a show. Yeah, I've just taken 2 weeks off from creating content. Sometimes life is busy enough. Yeah, but see, here's the thing. I committed to myself a few months ago, I guess. Yeah, I said, I'm going to do 4 shows a week. I'm going to find a way to make sure that I do it, and I'm going to do it. And I did. But now I'm like, do I got to keep doing that forever? Or can I take a few weeks off or a month off to get some other things done and come back and do whatever, I don't know. This is an independent show, so I guess it's my decision to make about how many shows a week or what shows to do or when to take a break. But I do feel a little bit of an obligation. Like, I think there was one time when I didn't do a show for 5 days in a row, and people were, God bless you, a few of you were messaging me like, "Wow, when are you going to do a show again? I gotta, get it fixed. I've watched all the old ones. When are you going to do a new one?" And that feels good that people are waiting if I do take a break. So thank you for that. Uh-oh. My ex-husband is ORH. Does that mean he was an alien then? Doesn't a lot of people say that? If you have that weird blood type, you may be an alien. I'm on there as backup anytime. I'll come on. Sure, let's do it this week if you want to do it this week. We could definitely do it. I just send you the StreamYard link, and make sure you have a webcam and a microphone, and some headphones really help. And then you just come right on here with me. Yes, your family and well-being is more important than anything on the internet. You can get family memories back. True fans will always be waiting for your return without question. Yeah, I appreciate that, because I am feeling a little. I joke. I like to joke that, like, I like to feel challenged in life, right? Life gets boring without challenges. If everything's just easy and, well, I have 2 children, so nothing's easy. But, I like to feel challenged. But every once in a while, I say to myself, universe, really, I'm feeling more than challenged enough. I don't need any more challenges. And then that's what happens. They multiply, and I guess I have a tendency to try to really bite off more than I can chew sometimes, like these huge projects at the cabin. Like, it's not a small thing. Like, I'm going to build a 10 by 24 room out of trees and trash for very little money. That's a challenge. And then I have all this stuff to do around my house here. And, yeah, other priorities may take precedence. And I hope people will understand if that has to happen, it just has to happen. Everybody with children will get it, because those children will keep you busy, plenty busy. You don't need an internet show to keep you busy if you have children. I can do Wednesday or Thursday. Let's do Thursday at 10 p.m. if you can do that. And I'm going to be at the cabin. But everything works there. We have internet there now, finally, thank God. So, but I don't know what time I'm going to get there, and I may need a little time to set up. But tentatively, we should say let's do Thursday at 10 p.m. and we'll do a UFO cult special, because I think that will be fun. Oh, and that's 10 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know what time zone you're on. Yeah, and I encourage everyone to listen to our Deprogrammed podcast. I've been catching up, and I really, her and I think a lot alike, and I like just the format of her show and some of the stuff she talks about, because some of these cults are crazy, and she doesn't just cover UFO cults; she covers all cults. And I don't know why, but I have an interest in weird cults. Right? If there's like a documentary about a weird cult, I gotta watch it. It's just interesting to me, I guess, from a psychological perspective. Like, how the hell did people get involved in this shit and get so wrapped up in it, that they believe this cult leader? And like, there's so many cults where like the cult leader will tell men, like, you can't bang your wife anymore, but I will. And they're okay with it somehow. It's crazy, this shit that happens in cults. And it's fun to get educated on that stuff. So if you want to, our whole podcast, yeah, Eastern time, New York time. I'm in Pennsylvania. That's a good idea, actually. Lee Veltman says the Book of Enoch and Revelations is actually a huge topic in these parts. I think that I'll put it on the list. I like Book of Enoch. There's a lot of great stories from there and a lot of weird stuff. We could definitely do that. Six's design is sharing my Twitter. That's probably the best way to interact with me and communicate with me. Follow me on Twitter. Lee Veltman says, I know a lot about cults. Yeah, you seem to follow a lot of whack jobs, Lee Veltman. So I would agree with you. You probably do know a lot about cults. We'd like to have you to come and do a show on Q as well. If we could schedule that, that would be great, because I'm just not up on it, and all of the bullshittery with Q. And I need a bullshit guide. I need a bullshit guide to get me through the treasure trove of bullshittery that is Q. And I think you're the guy, Lee Veltman. So you got to get with me and we got to schedule it. I think we talked about it before, but never nailed it down. Let's get it on the schedule. Let's do it. Lee follows whack jobs. Yeah, he follows whack jobs like me. Yeah, I'm a whack job for sure. 15% are negs, 8 are O like me. Yeah, I think I'm O too. I can never remember. I have to ask my wife. I think I'm O. Did the 44 caliber killer act alone, or was there really a Sam, the devil, involved? Yeah, that's a creepy subject, and we can definitely put that on the schedule for you. Carmine Gangemi. I will look into that. We'll put it on the list. Sounds like a good show topic to me. Friends, so we're coming up on an hour and a half, and I think this may be a good time to wrap things up here. Just wanted to come on really and communicate with you how grateful I am that you are all here for us to do 50 shows. It's always nice when there's an audience, friends, and I am glad that you've been in mine. Really, you know what? One of the worst things is from being an artist, performer, musician, doing a magic show, being an actor, any of that. The worst the worst feeling in the world is to work so hard on something and then to go to the show to do it and nobody showed up. And a lot of people have to suffer that. And I've been very fortunate and grateful here that there's at least always been some kind of audience while we did our thing here. So, really, you have my thanks and my gratitude. And I hope that we'll continue this journey going forward and just continue to grow the show and spread the show and get better at doing the show, make a better show. I have one goal for the next 50 episodes, and that is to make better shows and also to no longer have any, at least no major technical difficulties. A few people emailed me, and yes, I did see the stream from the cabin, and it was horrible and looked like 144p. And again, live show, these things are going to happen. It's a lighting issue. I'm going to get a couple of lamps, and we should be good going forward. And also, my unfamiliarity with the webcam that I took. I'm going to start using the same one at both locations now so that I know what the lighting should be so that it looks like a decent stream. Oh, Andrew Whitley, I appreciate that. New user in the chat. New friend of the show, Andrew Whitley. After watching some of your videos in the last week, I won't leave. Good, I appreciate that. Thank you. Enjoy your show. I'm sure the audience will grow. Yeah, and I've been told by people that have been through that growing a show, growing a channel, that slow and steady wins the race, and it's good to be slowly and organically building an audience and not jump real fast with thousands of subs that then the next week don't care about you, so they don't tune in. We want people that are going to participate and be with us hopefully for a long time as the show continues to expand and grow. So, friends, like I said, I am, again, extremely grateful to have an audience. And also, one second, we're going to do this. I'm especially thankful to those of you who have pulled your wallet out and thrown me a couple of bucks. It's meant a lot to me. The Patreon money paid for everything here on the show. The lighting, the backdrop, the webcam, the computers I had. I have plenty of computers being a computer guy, but microphone stands, some other odds and ends that you always need when you're trying to produce a show like this. Thank you so much to the Patreon supporters. You did really, truly make this show possible. I didn't really feel okay taking like my family's money to buy some bunch of webcams and microphones and stuff to do this. But it was nice that the Patreon money was sort of there. And every month while getting ready to do the show, we bought a piece or two. And thank you sincerely to the Patreon supporters. And the other way to support us financially, you can just make a one-time donation by PayPal. Just go to the About section here. You click on Donate by PayPal. And that money, too, goes towards keeping the show going. So, and you can sign up on Patreon if you haven't for $1 or more, and you get a backstage pass, and we do a monthly journal. You get the Mind Hack previews for free, and this Alt OS Linux operating system that I've been developing for some time. So, friends, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us, both tonight and if you joined us on any of the 50 shows that we have now produced. You really do have my gratitude. I'm so thankful that somebody's listening, right? Sometimes in radio land, there's no audience interaction, so you feel like you're screaming into a void. And this show felt different right from the very start. It felt like there was much more involvement, excitement about it. And every show was kind of an event, at least for me, and I hope it was for you too. Until next time, friends, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you.